Hi, Shaina.
Hey, Kim.
Thanks for being on the Focus Your Time podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, today I wanted to talk to you about energy techniques that you use for improving energy, as well as techniques you use for clearing unwanted energy that you may be taking on from others. But
Mhm.
first, how would you define energy in human beings, and why is it important to pay attention to our energy levels?
Okay, so this is such a good question, but I think it's a very complex question as well,
Yes.
because right, there are so many different ways to think about it and so many different answers. Because energy is literally, well, everything is energy, right? And everything has energy. But the energy that I'm going to be talking about with you is it's about like your state of being, right? How you're feeling physically, how you're feeling emotionally, mentally. And this is kind of silly, but this is how sometimes I describe it to my clients. But if you ever played a video game that shows like your life bar, do you know what I'm talking about? Almost like your status of how you're doing, like your health in the game.
Yeah, okay.
Talk about it's almost like I think about it like that. It kind of like we all have this energy bar, this life bar that kind of tells us how we're doing. Um, and when we can tap into that, when we're present and quiet, right, we can kind of see, okay, how is our energy? Where is it at? Does it need some, love? Do we need to take care of it a little bit more? So that's kind of how I think about it when I think about energy, or at least the energy that I work with or I talk about with my clients and for myself.
Ah, okay. Well, how did you become interested in the techniques that you're going to show us today?
So, honestly, at first, it was just out of necessity. I consider myself a highly sensitive person, and I didn't know I was until I was about, I don't know, maybe like 28, 29. And at that time, I was just physically feeling awful, like fatigued, headaches, worn down, brain fog, irritability, like all of these just really not fun things. Um, and because, like most humans, I wasn't paying attention to my energy levels. Um, and I didn't know really what to do to take care of it or that it was something that I needed to take care of. So it wasn't until I did like my own research and realized, okay, this wasn't like a medical issue. And I was doing my own, study on like, okay, what's going on? Like, why am I feeling this way? Did I come across learning about energy and learning about these different techniques? And I would just try a bunch of different ones and just kind of be curious and see, what helped, what didn't help. But it was really just out of necessity for myself of like, I'm feeling really awful and I don't want to feel this way. And
Yeah.
there's got to be something out there that I can try to help with those things. And it was just a lot of research on my own that like led me to all of these things.
Did you research online or did you research books? Where did you research?
Yeah, all of the things. So it definitely started with books. Well, actually, you know what? I want to say maybe more podcasts and YouTube because I think those are a little bit more accessible. So I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
just like Google these things.
Right.
Um, and then that kind of led me to more books on like highly sensitive people and energy and all of that kind of stuff. I also, I don't know if you know the program Mind Valley, but they also have like a lot of they call them quests, but programs that you can do to learn about energy and all different kinds of things. So I
Oh,
did
Mind
things like that.
Valley. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have heard of it,
Hmm.
but I don't know if I've actually looked at it.
Yeah.
Is
They
that a
have,
good place to go?
oh, definitely. They have
Okay.
all different kinds of programs. So on like health stuff, wellness kinds of things I know you really like. So
Yeah,
definitely up your alley.
yeah.
But all kinds of things like how to be a faster reader and things like that. So it just there's all kinds of topics that you can take a look at there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the common signs of imbalanced or low energy levels that people should be aware of?
Mhm. That's also a good question. So when I think about this, it's definitely very unique to each person, and can show up differently in every person. But the most common symptoms or things that I see are similar to what I described earlier is right, fatigue, exhaustion, feeling sad, or just have like a melancholy mood, but not really sure why that might be. Like it doesn't seem like there's a reason for it. Some other things are brain fog, headaches, anxiety, just, I mean, there's a whole slew of things, but those are the most common ones that I see that might be something that you want to check out, like what's going on with your energy, if those are things that you have.
Yeah. So how can individuals protect their energy and prevent exhaustion or overwhelm? Do you have some techniques or?
Yes. So I'm going to kind of separate these into like protection things and then things that can help you clear and move energy.
Okay.
Um, Again, there's like all sorts of things that you can do and try, and very individual. You might want to try a bunch of different things and see what works for you in terms of both things, the protection and moving your energy. Um, so in terms of protection, one of the most, well, these are all very powerful, but we are very powerful individuals.
We
And
are?
so, yes, we are. Everyone is.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes. Well, I'm mentioning that because I think a lot of times people think they're almost at the mercy of other people and like taking
Yes.
on their energy. And so I just want to kind of steer away from that to just be like, you have so much power and so much control. And there are lots of things that you can do. So you're not like taking on someone's energy or feeling like you're at the mercy of that.
Yes.
So one of the things that you can do is visualization. So you could imagine every time you are like going to into a meeting or that you're leaving your house or that you're going somewhere that you might think um, that you need to protect your energy, you want to visualize protecting yourself. And so for me, that's visualizing myself like in a golden light bubble and
Okay.
kind of and thinking about and like literally like picturing that in my brain, like surrounding myself. And I'll do that like right before I get on a call with somebody, or again, if I leave the house. And something that you can also think about is right, this light bubble is going to only let in whatever is from like my highest and best, right? Or what, however you want to describe it.
Mhm.
So if you are visualizing that and then setting that intention, that will allow you to protect your energy, right? Because again, you're in control of what can come in and what can go out and all of that. Um, and so I can actually kind of just mention the second one, which is intention. So if you don't want to visualize, which is totally fine, you can just have that intention of like, hey, when I leave this house, I'm going to be protected, right? And I'm not going to let anything in that I don't want to come in.
I love that. I do intentions every day, just to
Mhm.
how the day's going to go, but I
Yep.
haven't done anything with an golden energy bubble. I haven't
Yes.
done anything like that. So that would be a good thing to add at the beginning of when I'm talking about how my drive is going to go. It's going to be clear roads. It's going to be a safe road. I'm going to have a safe when I get to the place, it's going to be safe inside. And then on the way home,
Mm,
I mean, I do this whole thing every day,
I
but to
love that.
add that to it, that would be really helpful.
Yes, totally, totally. Um, what else was I going to say to that is right, because you're just setting your intention of what you want. And like we
Yeah.
said, or like I said before, we're very powerful humans,
Yes,
right?
we are.
We can control those things. So yeah, I would absolutely add that like before you leave. And it doesn't have to be a gold energy bubble. That's just something that I resonate with. So whatever feels like protective to you or whatever you envision, then use that instead, right? Like it's
Yeah.
again very individual. Whatever works for you, do
I
that.
like the golden energy bubble.
Okay, awesome. Use it. And you have to let
It
me know how it
sounds
goes.
pretty.
Yes, yes.
And
Um,
so do you do that type of thing? You said before you get on phone calls with clients. So do you just have to do it once or every time you get off the phone, you do it again and again and again?
so I kind of think about it like brushing our teeth or taking a shower. I do think it's something, I mean, you could have the intention that like this stays forever. All right. And I'm always protected. But I do think we maybe need some like tune-ups and check-ins and kind of like a refresh. Um, and so you definitely can set that intention of like, hey, I always want to be surrounded by this. But I do think, right, your energy needs some love sometimes, just like our teeth need some extra love probably once a day. We're going to want to do that with our energy too, kind of just like a check-in of like, hey, let me just refresh and like kind of clean things out. So I definitely would recommend making it like part of a routine that you do versus something that you just do like once in a while,
Yeah.
especially if you are someone who identifies as a highly sensitive person.
And I do.
Mm-hmm. So
So
yeah, I
so
would
if you
definitely.
have 5 phone calls in one
Yep.
day,
Mhm.
Would you do it 5 times or would you just do it once before all of the calls?
So I do it once before the calls, like the beginning of my day, and then
Okay.
I'll do some like little things in between my calls that
Oh,
might help with my energy.
can you tell us what those are?
Yes. So one of them is called a shoulder pull, and I could just do it in my seat. Like I don't have to move and it's super quick. So you take your hand and put it over like your opposite shoulder. And it's almost like a little massage, like push into your shoulder a little bit and then pull your arm down to like cross your body to the other side. And then do the other side as well. So push in your shoulder, pull it across, push in your shoulder, pull it across, and just do that a few times.
Okay.
And so, what that does is that it not only gives you energy, but it helps you with clarity in your mind. It helps your brain work better. It allows your energy to flow better in your body, right? We don't want like stagnant energy, right? Just like a river. Like if it's stagnant, it gets dirty, gross,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So it kind of does the same thing for your body. So that's something that I might do right in between
In
in
between
my day.
sessions. Okay.
hmm Yep. Another one I do, it's called the four thumps. And
Or
so again,
thumps.
four thumps. Yeah. So
Okay.
basically you're hitting four spots of your body.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I didn't create these, so I'm not trying to claim that these are from all the learning that I've done.
yeah, yeah.
um, but so the first one is you thump like right under your cheekbones or on your cheekbones. And this one helps ground yourself, ground your
Oh,
body.
okay.
Under your collarbone, that one helps with more vitality. The thymus, which is like the middle of your chest, that one is going to help with your immune system. And
Oh,
then you can't see this one, but underneath my rib cage, like right where your brow line is, that one helps you metabolize things. So metabolize food, metabolize toxins,
oh,
metabolize thoughts. Um,
okay.
so
And
that's
you do
another.
these, and when do you do these? This the four thumps.
So that one, I mean, that one, I really like that one. I'll do that all the time. Like if I'm
The four
feeling stressed,
thumps.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, if I'm feeling stressed, if I'm in between calls, I'll do that one. At the end of my calls, I'll do that one. Um, really, that one you can really do whenever you want. The other one, the cross pull, is when maybe you have a little bit of brain fog or you want to concentrate. Um, if you have a lot going on, that's a good one to do for that as well. I mean, there's never a bad time to do any of these
you
for
ever
sure.
do any like before you eat or after you eat might not be good because it's a lot of thumping going on after you ate.
So, right. So with eating, I let my body kind of digest a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I sometimes have the intention, like I'll put my hands on my stomach and just with the intention of like, hey, this is going to help with my digestion. Like I'm just going to send energy to my digestion and stomach to help digest properly.
I
But then
love that.
you could do the rib cage one a little while afterwards. I wouldn't do it again right
I know.
after.
Do I look like a monkey?
I mean, it's cute. I like it. I like acting like a monkey.
We'll call that the monkey thump.
The monkey thumb. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any others that you can show us?
This one's also one of my favorites. And it's you rub your two hands together. And I'll do this until I feel like there's a shift in my body and my energy. So you might do it for a little bit longer. This one's particularly good if you feel like amped up, right? If you get off a call and like you feel really stressed or anxious or angry. So it's kind of like this helps move that energy. And
Okay.
then you open your hands like a book and you take a deep breath, like fill up your stomach and then blow out like you're blowing candles. And do it one more time. Take a deep breath in and out. And then flick your fingers like you're flicking off water. You can also think about like flicking off any energy that
Okay.
you don't want to have, that you don't need. Again, visualize with that intention. That's
Okay.
another good one. And that's another good one, like in between meetings and calls and things like that. That's just super nice and quick that you could do.
Okay. Do you do all of these every day?
No, so that's
No.
a good question. I kind of tune into my body. Like I'll ask, I've done so many of these now that I kind of know for myself which one would feel better in whatever moment. So yeah, you don't need to do all of these. You can do one of them. And I would just kind of check in with your body. What feels like might be the most useful for me right now? Is it the thumps? Is it the crossover pull? Is it like, do I feel like super amped? Do I need to do this one instead? So no, you don't need to do all of them. If you want to, certainly. It's not going to hurt you ever.
You know me, I like routines. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, today I'm going to start with the energy blow or whatever that's called. What is that
Yeah,
called?
I like that. Let's do energy blow.
Energy blow. And then I'm going to do the four thumps.
hmm
I can't remember the names of the other ones, but I would like put them all in a row. Is
hmm
that bad though to put them all in a row, or should you like do them at different times of the day?
No, no, I think
Okay.
you can do them whenever you want.
What if
And
you're
if you
feeling great?
feeling amazing,
Yeah, like let's say someone's feeling amazing.
hmm
I do a lot of the time. I feel pretty good most of the time.
yeah,
So if I feel good, can I still do it?
totally, 100%. Right? Because our energy, whatever it is just going to attract more of that same energy. And if we're doing those techniques, it's just going to improve it wherever it is, no matter where we are. So it's
Okay.
not, yeah, so it's not going to hinder it at all. So even if you're feeling amazing, this is also a good thing to do, right? It's almost like thinking about, um, like, do you need to eat well just when you're not feeling good, right? You want to eat well all the time.
Oh, yes, I do.
Right? It's kind of the same thing. It's almost like even if we're feeling amazing, this is just gonna, higher likelihood it's gonna keep us feeling that way when we do those things when we're feeling amazing at that time versus just doing it when we don't feel well. Does
And
that
do you
make
ever do these things away from home? Like I can
Totally.
imagine myself doing the four thumps on an airplane. And
Yes.
people are
Yes.
walking by and you're like, you know,
I mean, honestly, because I know how much it helps me, I don't even think about it anymore. I'm like, you can think whatever you want.
I love it.
It's fine. I'm just taking care of myself. But you have to, again, especially if you're highly sensitive, and you know
I
how it's
am.
going to
Yeah.
impact you, like you have to be your number one priority. So let people think what they're going to think about it. Maybe they'll ask you and be like, hey, what are you doing? And you tell them, and like you can help improve their life by sharing some of the things that you do. But yeah, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. They
In the
could hand
most
me a
loving way.
banana. They could hand me a banana.
Yeah, be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Thank you very much. That's so kind of you.
yes, totally,
Are there
totally.
any more that you can show us?
Um, I think that those are the main ones. There are definitely some other like practices that I can think of.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to like the move your energy practices or help clear your energy. So for sure, any type of meditation that is super useful to help
Okay.
clear and move your energy. Spending time in nature, that is super helpful. Taking a bath with salt and baking soda, that one's really good. So if you've had like if you had a really stressful day or you can know that you feel super heavy, that one I always recommend of getting in some water with some salt and baking soda and having that intention of this is going to like clear my energy. That one's really good.
I love it. So not Epsom salt, but actual salt.
Actual salt. I
Can
mean,
it be
Epsom
any
salt
kind
will,
of salt, like table salt
any
and
kind of
baking
salt.
soda?
Yeah, and baking soda. Epsom salt can do it as well. So for sure, you can do
Okay.
Epsom salt and baking soda, right? Table salt and baking soda, either one.
Okay, and that helps.
hmm
Okay.
Yes, totally.
You're very busy.
Well, again, I'm not doing all of these things. It's just these are things like in my toolbox
I
of,
love
hey,
it.
I know I can pull these out when I need them. But yeah, you don't have to do them every single day. It's just, hey, I know these things are going to be helpful for me when I'm feeling maybe a little down or when that anxiety is coming up or whatever it is.
Yeah, and when you're in nature,
Mhm.
I mean, I just learned this. I think I told you before about
Yeah.
the grounding and that you hold on to trees or
Yes.
touch trees. Do you actually go and touch a tree or do you just
Yes.
stand near them? Oh, you do?
I do. I
Do
do.
you have something you do while you're holding on to the tree? Is there like a thumping action going on or
No, I don't typically do any of the techniques because the trees and the nature is it's healing on its own.
okay.
So, I mean, could you again? Absolutely. It's not going to hurt, but I'm more of the mind of like if I put my hand on a tree, um, I'm more of from gratitude. Like I'm just thanking the tree for
Yeah.
being there, for giving us clean air, for just doing what it does. And also healing me because I know it's giving me healing energy just to be in its presence. And I think, oh, well, I mean, I talk to all my plants. I know that's helpful for them. It helps them
Oh,
grow.
that's nice.
Yes. So it's almost like it's a reciprocal thing, right? When you have the gratitude, when you tell them how amazing they are, it's gonna put the same back to you as well.
Yeah, your plants must be growing huge.
They
I
are.
talk to them a lot.
I do. I do.
Do you have one that's your favorite?
That's a good question. I don't think I have a favorite. I do have ones that like any of the ones that I've grown from like seeds, it's almost like they're my babies.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yes. So, but I love all of my plants.
And can you get energy from touching plants as well, or is it just trees, do you think?
That's a good question. I think you could, but I do think a tree is much more powerful for sure because it's like in the soil, in the dirt, like I yes, I do think there's going to be benefit from just, I mean, there's benefit from just having plants around for sure,
Yes.
but I do think it might be a little bit more powerful to be around a tree, hug a tree, touch a tree,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong about that. That's just my thought about
Is
it.
is there anything else you do in nature besides the trees? Is there something else that's helpful when you're out there?
Um, so I live in a place that has a lot of birds. And so
Oh,
bird
lovely.
song is super healing. So I always like, so if I go out in nature, I make sure to not like wear headphones or listen to anything. Um,
Yes.
not all the time for sure. Like I do like listening to podcasts and things like that, but um, just listening to the sounds of nature, like bird song, like the wind, all that kind of stuff is also very healing. So just being present is something that I try to do when I'm in nature.
I heard that everybody should listen to bird sounds every morning, and it's
Hmm.
supposed to clear your stress for the rest of the day just by listening to birds. That's what
Yeah,
I heard.
I wouldn't doubt it, honestly. Like it is very powerful. So,
Yeah, and when I'm out walking, I like to listen to that as well. But I
mhm.
also, I think I told you, I've got this little speaker, and
Mm,
so I don't have anything in my ears, but it's a little
mhm.
speaker you put on like your collar, and you can listen to podcasts and stuff and still hear all the sounds.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I like that because I don't have to have anything in my ears because I don't want to
Yeah.
not hear things coming behind me, cars or whatever.
Right,
But
right,
I
for
love
safety.
listening to all of that. And if you have a
Totally.
lot of birds, that must be really fun. Like you're
Yes.
in the jungle or something.
Yes, yes. And we have lots of trails and stuff. So right, there's always different kinds of birds and even kind of like recognizing and noticing the different sounds. I mean, that is just
Oh,
fun for me.
I love that. And do you have trails right outside your house? Like you can just walk there, or do you have to drive to a trail?
We drive. Could we walk there? Yes, but it's I don't know, maybe like a 3, 4 minute drive down the road. It's not.
Okay. So
We
it might
bring our
take a little
dog,
while
so
to get there.
yeah.
Yeah, if you walked. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, So are those the only techniques or do you have more to share? Didn't you have one that you did over your head? I
Oh,
don't know what
so
that was. I can't remember.
no, so that
Or is that for
there,
something else?
yeah, that's for emotion code. They use like a magnet to do swiping, which they say helps process the emotion or eliminate any like stuck emotions.
Oh, well, how do you do that?
I I'm not an emotion code practitioner. I've just read
Oh,
the book
oh,
about it. But it's something with like the electromagnetic field. They say that if you use a magnet that you can swipe and that it's going to eliminate any stuck emotions that you have. I don't want to say any, um, but yeah, so I'm not a practitioner in it, so I don't know it 100%. So I wouldn't
yeah,
want to speak directly to it, but that's what I know about the
yeah.
swiping.
We can look it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't erase everything that's in my brain.
I
All of a sudden I
don't
have
think it
no
works
memory.
like
Let me see. I was going to ask you a couple more questions.
Okay.
So how can people differentiate between their own energy and someone else's?
So there are no true, how do I want to say it? Like there's no true rules on this. Um, Hold on, sorry. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. Okay. So there are no true like rules on this of how you can know if it's yours or somebody else's, but I can give you some things that you can try.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things that I typically recommend or that I do for myself is that I'll just ask, like if I notice myself feeling like sad or like in a melancholy mood and I don't really know why, or like I have brain fog and there's like nothing really going on, I'll just ask myself, like, is this mine or is this somebody else's? And sometimes even just asking that question, if it's somebody else's, it'll start to lighten and potentially go away. Um, or I'll even say, like, if this isn't mine, then like I release it with like light and love to wherever it came from or wherever it needs to go. Um, and if I do that and it does shift, then that typically tells me, oh, okay, like I'm carrying something that's not mine and somebody else's. So that's one recommendation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. But
You have to
again,
think back. I mean, do you think like, was I just with someone where I could have gotten this energy? Do you ever have to kind of look back a little bit to see where it might have come from?
you could, I mean, you could probably take some guesses about what it is and like think about it. And that might be good for you to kind of check in because if you know, oh, maybe I like picked up something there, then that tells you, okay, maybe I need to add in a ritual there before I do this thing to protect myself in the future. Of,
Yeah.
maybe I do some like extra protection before I go do this thing. But will we always know what it is? No. But is that important to do or useful to do? Then sure. You can absolutely think back and be like, oh, okay, where might I have gotten this or where might this be? I mean, you can even ask yourself in your body of like, hey, where did this come from? And just notice where your brain goes and it might tell you. Um,
Yeah. And it could
um,
be if you were out with someone and they were complaining for an hour
mhm.
and then you come home and you're feeling terrible or you're feeling really negative and then you start complaining a lot.
Yeah,
And if you're not normally a complainer, a big complainer, then you could probably guess that you brought someone else's energy home with you. That's how that works, right?
totally. Right, right, right. Yeah. And you can just check in and be like, oh, yeah, that's very interesting that I picked this up. And then with that intention, you can just say, like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. I would like to release it, send it back with light and love wherever it came from,
I love
or
it.
even visualize that leaving for yourself.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you kind of said it, but what recommendations do you have for maintaining consistent energy levels throughout the day?
So,
And are there any more techniques that you could share that can be implemented during maybe if you're at work or during daily activities?
so definitely those exercises that I talked about before. I would make that almost like a ritual for yourself or routine of like before leaving the house or going into a meeting or work or something like that, doing the energy ball of protection. Um, Another one too is, and I kind of mentioned this with the bath, but before bed, having a ritual around that. So, like before
Oh,
you go to sleep, right, visualizing like cleansing your body,
oh,
right?
okay.
And having that intention of, okay, whatever I may have picked up today that no longer need or that isn't for me or isn't in my highest and best, right? I think about like almost being washed in water and it kind of leaving my body, like cleansing your body
Yes.
and then refilling it with like light healing or whatever feels good or healing to you. But I picture like a white light filling my body instead after it gets cleansed. And you could do that too with actual, like if you take a shower at night or a bath or something, you can do that in the water and like have that intention of like, oh, this water is going to cleanse and purify and get rid of anything that I may have picked up
Oh,
um
I love that.
for today. So that those are typically like the morning and night thing.
Yeah.
Um those are like my solid routines that I do every day because they can take 2 seconds to do. But then along with those other like um techniques that I was talking about before.
And the one you
Um
shared was about right before you go to sleep,
mhm,
right?
yes,
Okay.
right, like before bed. basically, right. It's just like brushing your teeth every night. It's just like kind of cleansing everything that may have gotten stuck
Right.
that you don't want.
And it probably helps you sleep a little better too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that would be good too to pair that with an intention of like, hey, um I also am hoping for restful sleep and that I wake up energized and all that too. You can for sure throw that one in there as well.
Have you noticed a change in your sleep since you've started doing all of this? It's a lot better.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not moving around as much. Like I used to be like I guess, a restless sleeper. So that I don't do as much. And I do wake up a lot more, feeling a lot more energized and rested than I did before doing all these
Wow.
things. I also noticed too, when I do that, like my mind used to race a lot about different things. My mind has calmed down a lot since doing these as well.
Oh, wow. That's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, so highly recommend.
Yes. A lot of people have racing minds and they can't turn off their thoughts when they go to
Yes,
sleep.
totally.
Yeah. So, do you have maybe a memorable transformation from your coaching practice where these techniques have helped?
So I think the most memorable one for me is probably myself, just because I know firsthand, right, like what it felt like before and what it felt like after. But also, I think it's very similar to what I see with almost, I would say, all my clients, if not all of them. Um, but what I've noticed, I mean, I love what I do, right? I love coaching, I love helping people. But when I first started coaching, I was all of those things that I talked about earlier, right? I was exhausted, I had brain fog, I wasn't able to be as present. By the end of the day, I wasn't able to, like, anything that I had to like think about, I couldn't do. It was like almost like my brain felt like mush at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was not fun. Um, and it got to the point where I felt like I had to make a decision. I was like, something has to change, or like maybe I just can't do this profession anymore because like I'm
Yeah.
always around people. But again, it's something that I love. Like I didn't want to stop doing it.
Right.
Um, and again, like this is typically what I hear from a lot of coaches and healers and practitioners. They love what they do, but then they feel just so exhausted and drained. And they're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yes.
Um, and so now it literally feels like it's night and day that like I wake up energized. I leave my during my sessions, I'm like able to be super present. When I leave, I feel like I don't feel drained. I don't feel exhausted at all. I'm able to be much more present with people.
That's
Um,
fantastic, Shayna,
yeah,
because I
it's
bet a lot of coaches feel this way. I know I
mhm,
have.
yeah, right. And it just feels so and I don't know if this is true for you, but it just felt like so hopeless. I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like I either choose my health and feeling good or something that I really love. And that just felt like such a struggle before I started doing these things. And they just have been so helpful
And now
to
you don't take it, I can't say home, you are at home, but
right.
you don't take it into your evening
Right. And the
when
rest
you're
of my
done.
day and all of that. Yes. And I want to say too, what has been crazy to notice is that since doing these techniques, the revenue in my business has also increased because I think now because I do them daily, it impacts how I show up just all the time and also in my marketing. And I'm able to show up more myself, which I think attracts more of like my ideal clients. I'm able
Yeah.
to speak in a way that's more clear and concise, which I never would have considered that. I mean, thinking about it now, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, but it
Yeah.
wasn't my intention at the beginning. But
Wow.
that's
You're
been a
so good
tremendous
at
change.
what you do. I mean, every time I
Thanks
talk to
you.
you, you're just so sweet and friendly and seems like you just never ever have any stress.
Okay, well, that's not true, but but I do a
That's
lot
how it
of
comes
things to help
across.
it. Well, I appreciate that, Kim. Thank you so much.
I mean, really, I can't imagine you ever just being stressed or looking
Mhm.
like you're stressed. You just seem just so calm and nice and caring. And I'm sure everybody says that about you. I've seen your testimonials. Oh, Shayna's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, I do a lot of work, like inner stuff, to be able to do that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
On like all the social media things. So on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. Mainly I do TikTok and Instagram, so people can find me there.
Okay.
Do you want me to say
Are
like
you
my
are
handles
you
again?
under a certain name like Life Coach Shayna? Is that where
Yes.
Life Coach Shayna on
So
everything?
Life Coach Shayna is my Instagram, and then my
Okay.
TikTok is Business Coach for Coaches. So you can find
Okay.
me in those two places.
Okay. And I'll post it in the show notes too.
Awesome.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to share?
Um, I think the only thing is that if you are feeling the way that I did of just like super fatigued, anxiety, like in that place of feeling hopeless, I just want to offer that I mean, first I have so much compassion for you because I know how hard it is. Um, but just know that it can change and it does take a little bit of time. Probably not as long as you think it is. So I just want to give a little bit of hope that it can be different. Um, and that there are lots of resources and things that you can do and try that can help. So not to uh, feel like there's nothing that you can do and that it's possible to feel different than how you're feeling. So that's all I wanted to share.
Aw. Okay. Well, that was amazing today. Thank you for showing us all those techniques. I'm gonna have to make a spreadsheet so I know what to use when. Maybe
I
I'll put
love it.
something out there that'll so I can share it with people because that's a
Yes,
lot of
please
stuff
do.
to remember. But
Yes.
I love it. I'm gonna watch this over and over again. So thank you
Um,
for coming on to focus your time today.
Thank you for having me, Kim. I really appreciate it. I love spending time with you.
Yeah, me too. I'll let you get back to your day. So take care and have a fantastic day.
You too.
Okay.